This is Remington Coves in Otsego, Minnesota. It was a revolutionary change in the way we designed coved developments. And I want to explain some of the things that we discovered in Remington Coves and how it made a huge difference. This is the original plan, and Ray Pruban of Solid Ground Development had wanted to purchase this and the adjacent acreage before the recession. And he said, Rick, go wild. Just do something that is spectacular. Do anything you want on this. I want to give you full free form on the design. So we were thinking about what do we do that's different? Because coving is essentially creating a pattern where the homes form different curves, pieces of a curve that's separate from the street. And before this development, essentially what we would do is meander in and out, in and out. And so what we discovered, if you take a look at the upper right part of your screen, is instead of going in and out, what we did was we continued that curve and went through the block. We curved the homes from one side of the block to the other. Another thing that we did was we proposed bay homes, which were nothing new. In fact, bay homes came before coving. And what it was a typical bay home was, at the time, was about 24 feet by 70 feet long. Now the city had additional right-of-way, additional setbacks, wetlands, a 30-foot setback from the wetland, and it kept on whittling away at the depth of the home. So they ended up being narrow and not so deep. And then what the solid ground wanted was a three-car garage, which means two side by side and one tandem. So you already have a home that has been whittled down from about 70 to 80 foot deep to something much less deep, and you had a third stall garage. So that really didn't play very well with the floor plan, and the architect did a terrible job on the architecture. And we thought it would be a good idea to ensure that different builders would build a consistent product to actually have the architecture as part of the lot. So architecture was actually platted in the plan. Ended up being a very bad idea. So we learned, all of these we learned what to do and what not to do. So when you take a look at the shapes, we have two areas that space just goes through the blocks. That was revolutionary at the time. Now it's something that we do commonplace. Look at that space. Look at the space in those in the lots, and yet we're achieving similar or better density than a grid subdivision. Even though we're adding some pavement that we typically wouldn't do, we have this huge oversized cul-de-sacs, but with homes set further back, we have a ton of homes on there, and the street that you see, this curved street. And now you see the emergency trail connecting the streets. Well, that curved street was originally supposed to go straight. Now, the problem with that is we felt that the neighborhood to the south of this was very unsightly. It was a cookie cutter plan with cookie cutter homes. And what we wanted to do was de emphasize the adjacent neighborhood. So we swung the road up and over. Now, our argument for the city, of course, was, to take and get a detention pond in the back. And so instead of noticing the neighborhood next door, look how you see the home fronts. And this is the way it's on the ground. This was built identical to our original plan. This is the original plan. And then we wanted the space. So we're swinging away. We're swinging away from that development we felt would be detrimental to the sales. There's that meandering walk that goes through the block. So the space goes through the blocks. We have another walk that goes through the circular park with a playground in the middle. The kids cannot get hit by a car because there are no cars back there. Again, very deeply meandering walks. The views from within the fronts of the homes and the rear of the homes are much greater than a standard single-family neighborhood. And how does all of this happen? Well, the massing, those yellow buildings, those were the ones were existing before the recession. So they existed before the recession, and the other buildings that are more detailed, as you can see, those are the after the recession. So what happened was Ryland Homes bought out the adjacent single family lots. I said, hey, let's get together and we'll talk about, how to sell within this development, what to look out for. And they said, Rick, we don't need to meet with you because we're going to sell this thing out in 90 days. Now, this is one of the first recovery developments, and this is far out in the Twin Cities. And you know what? They did sell out in 90 days. And then the Bay homes were brought by a developer, a builder developer who's a landscape architect, and he built the rest of the Bay homes, and they sold out in about a year. So the development's completely sold out. It's mature and it's beautiful and it's revolutionary, and it really changed the way that we looked at traffic patterns, connectivity, and it was a premier product for us.